All right, we got Esteban Ribovics at the best you're going to get him at right now is going to be minus 135 on Bet Any Sports. I haven't heard of that account, but those are solid odds. I'm going to be dead serious with you guys. 11-1. He is younger. He's the same height. He's got more of a finishing ability than Camuela Kirk with every single win coming in round number 1, except for 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's got, what is that? What would that be? Like 6 or 7 round 1 finishes and 4 round 2 and round 3 finishes. This dude is an absolute killer. If he gets you to the ground, he's ground and pound. He's looking for that finish. If he can't, he's going to knock you out on the feet because he is just that powerful. Not to mention Esteban is a lightweight. Camuela is not. But Camuela's only knockout loss, the only way I really would see him getting finished was Billy Quarantillo, and I'm going to be honest, Billy Quarantillo would mop the floor with my guy Esteban Ribovic. So I was thinking about this fight, and I was thinking if the fight would go to a decision, if there would be a finish, and I'm pretty torn on if Esteban will get that TKO or if he is going to get that decision win. But you got to think. Betting on MMA is not necessarily what you think is going to happen. It's the most valuable thing you can possibly pick. Ribovics by TKO is plus 155. Ribovics inside the distance is at plus 100. Is there any value at all on that? For it to not go to a decision at minus 250? Are you kidding me? Nope. The only thing we're doing on this one would be a little sprinkle on either Esteban Ribovics by decision. That actually is getting better odds. Since it first came out, some money actually came in on not Esteban Ribovics by decision, which I think is crazy. And if you're like really split, you think Camuela can mix in those takedowns, I mean, you're still getting plus 180 here on Betway and plus 175 on BetOnline. You'll probably get some odds on all the other bookies for it to just go to a decision. And that's actually what I think will happen. It's not a confident one. I'm like 51% sure this fight goes to a decision. But that's value. If you're 51% sure on something or confident on something, and you're getting plus 180 odds, you got to sprinkle a little bit on there. There's not too many other props I like, but come on, ladies and gentlemen. Plus 180 for fight goes to a decision. That is 100% value. In the lightweight division, Shannon Ross and Jesus Aguilar in the flyweight division, 34 and 27 years old. A little bit of a height, a little bit of reach for Shannon Ross right there, who is very solid on the feet. Offensively, we're not gonna talk too much about the defensively for my guy Shannon Ross, because this dude is not too good on the defense on the feet. Out of his losses, he's been knocked out 3 times. 2 of those ones were very recently. One of them was in his really early career when he was quite young for the UFC flyweight division at like 21, 22 years old. The dude's chin is just not there. I'm going to be honest with you. He might be able to land some good shots on Jesus Aguilar for a little bit, land some good combinations, pressure Jesus forward, defend a few of those takedowns, but all it takes is one big looping shot from a guy like Jesus Aguilar, who doesn't have any knockout wins, but still is a very powerful guy. All it takes is for him to land once, Shannon Ross to get a little bit scared, a little bit wobbly, and be like, oh shoot, I'm going to go in on a takedown and get caught in the guillotine choke submission that he is so famous for inside or outside of the UFC. His only loss in the UFC was Tatsuro Taira with that triangle armbar submission. But we kind of all knew that was going to happen. It's Tatsuro Taira. That dude is an absolute killer. Betting odds for the fight, not too bad for Jesus Aguilar. That I was wondering about the inside the distance. There's nothing else there. I mean, it's plus 100, minus 100. You're not getting much value at all on a Jesus Aguilar by a finish. Aguilar by submission, on the other hand, I did believe had some value. And those odds have just flipped. What is today? The 5th? They started out plus 250 and immediately a little bit of money came in on that line right there. So a lot of people are agreeing with me on that Jesus Aguilar submission win. That's pretty much it. You sprinkle a quarter unit, half unit on Aguilar by submission, or you risk it on the money line, because I do believe minus 140. I'm a little bit more confident than that. I mean, they were staying steady around minus 200, which seems fair for Jesus Aguilar in this fight. So the money line or that submission prop, they make some sense. Cameron Simon and Terrence Mitchell at bantamweight, 22 and 33 years old. There's literally an 11-year age difference here, and Terrence is usually more of a flyweight guy. He likes to go down and fight Kai Kara France on the Ultimate Fighter and, get absolutely starched in round number 1, 30 seconds in. But that was a while ago. He's since moved up to bantamweight in 2022. And I'm not too sure if he stayed there, because that second one didn't show, but he was in the bantamweight division after that. So he's definitely gained some weight, especially as a 5'10 guy. He was pretty skinny for that flyweight limit. And Cameron Simon, 8-0, 22 years old, from South Africa, undefeated, all finishes except for 2 against Mana Martinez, where he was very close to the finish. And then Sinidila Managela, who is very, very good at not getting finished, and is a veteran of the game. Personally, I think Cameron Simon gets the TKO early, knocks out Terrence Mitchell round 1, round number 2. But you gotta think. You gotta think, guys. He's minus 500. What do you think the odds are gonna be on him by the TKO? Not very good. Simon by TKO is at minus 140 right now. Plus 100 I would have sprinkled on. Plus 100 I would have definitely sprinkled on. But Simon inside the distance is minus 300. For the TKO, it's at minus 140. I mean, in these situations when the odds are this lopsided, and you got a guy like Cameron actually coming off a decision win, now he's fighting Terrence Mitchell, making his UFC debut, most likely going to lose, but trying to prove that he actually belongs in the UFC by making this short notice call to maybe have a 3-4 fight future inside of the UFC. So what's he going to try to do? Not get finished by the youngster that is Cameron Simon. Test them a little bit. Not just go out there and get absolutely destroyed in round number 1 like the odds are insinuating. So you got to look. What is Cameron Simon by decision? Well, it's crazy. It is absolutely insane. At plus 525. Ladies and gentlemen, plus 525. You bet $5, you make about, what would that be, like $25, $26 on that bet. That's value. That is 100% value, in my opinion. I'm more confident on Cameron Simon getting a decision win than I would be on Terrence Mitchell. And he got plus 5 something to plus 400. I mean, plus 525 for a decision win on a guy that in his last 4 fights as an MMA fighter, half of those had been decision wins. I'm just saying. I got high hopes for my guy Cameron Simon in the future, but I mean, those odds are very, very good for the decision. Vitor Petrino and Marcin Parachnio in the light heavyweight division. And first thing is the age, obviously. Who do they want to win? Who's the undefeated guy? Who is younger? Who is longer? Who's got more finishes in all of his 8 fights? That guy is going to be Vitor Petrino, with only 1 decision on Anton Turkalj, who has never been knocked out. And then Ewerton Pelokwani, who in his entire MMA career has only been finished twice, by submissions in both of those fights. He's a knockout guy. If he's fighting guys like Anton Turkalj and Ewerton Pelokwani, 2 guys that do not get finished by knockout. They get submitted, but they do not get TKO'd. It was understandable that he wasn't going to go out there and get those finished. But other than that, the man pressures forward. He's got good, solid defense, good technical striking, and then he's able to explode with some good, powerful shots. I actually have this one going to a decision. If you look at the career of Marcin Prachnio, he had 3 bad knockout losses in round number 1, not against good competition in 2 of them for Sam Alvey and Mike Rodriguez. One of them was great in Magomed Ankalaev, came back with decision wins on Khalil Roundtree and William Knight. But I'm going to be honest. I do believe Vitor Petrino is going to go out there and mix in some wrestling. I think he has the advantage over Marcin Prachnio here. We saw a guy like Felipe Lins absolutely control and dominate Marcin Prachnio on the ground with the wrestling. We saw, let's go over to Vitor Petrino's UFC stats. UFCstats.com, just to make a little bit of a point here, all right? Vitor Petrino's last fight with Anton Turcos, who's a very good wrestler and grappler, he landed 7 of 9 takedowns, got reversals, submission attempts, a lot of control time. I think that's going to be a huge part of this game because there's a good shot Marcin could actually outstrike Vitor on the feet with his kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, Muay Thai, kickboxing, all of that type of stuff. And Vitor could just intercept that with a takedown. So I actually do have Vitor Petrino winning this fight by a decision. It's not at all confident that the fight's going to be a decision. But like I said in the Cameron Simon fight, with this level of value, for Vitor Petrino by decision to be at plus 550, and people are actually betting on that, ladies and gentlemen, that's a sprinkle in the making. Vitor by decision, the money line is not there. Minus 300, yes, that's not there. That is not there at all. Edgar Chairez and Tatsuro Taira in the flyweight division. It's a simple one. Don't bet the money line. Don't put Taira in a parlay because my guy Edgar Chairez is also a finisher. 0 decision wins, 6 submissions, and then 4 TKO wins, a lot of which coming in round number 1. Flying knee in 45 seconds, a spinning elbow midway through round number 1, and then another knockout win in 1:47 of round number 1. This dude, and then round number 2, 10 seconds. And this dude has crazy power in his hands and feet. So, I mean, that alone should tell you, don't freaking put Taira in the parlay. We go down the list a little bit to the props, which are going to be very interesting in my opinion, because I do have Tatsuro Taira by submission in round number 2, which is kind of right around where this over 1.5, under 1.5 is. So I don't really know if I want to risk it on that over 1.5, under 1.5. There is also the fact that Edgar Chairez is just going to have really good submission defense, knowing Taira's game plan. As soon as Taira gets on the back, he could be just like Damir Smagulov was to Grant Dawson last week and be really, really good at defending those takedowns. I do have him by submission, but if you look at this submission prop, come on, we're not doing anything with that. Minus 250 for Tatsuro Taira by submission is crazy in my opinion. Even the scorecards, no action, no. Putting that in the parlay, no. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this is a skip. This is a skip fight. This is one of those where the betting, the bookies are probably going to make a lot of money if Edgar Chairez can just dog it out and get a crazy comeback in round number 2, round number 3. It's a pass for me with Taira and Chairez. Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Menefiel, the rematch at UFC 290 in the lightweight division. This is an interesting one. They had the rematch a while back at, I believe it was the last fight card where Volkanovski fought Islam Makhachev, so they're still going to be on another Volkanovski card. The money line now, I'd probably say no, but originally, I personally will say I put money on Jimmy Crute when those odds first came out. If I can remember correctly, I think it was like minus 102, so I actually had sort of underdog odds on Jimmy Crute when those odds first came out. But now, again, it's like the Cameron Simon fight, it's like the Vitor Petrino fight. They fought before. It was a decision that went all the way. Yes, Alonzo was really close to getting the knockout plenty of times. Jimmy Crute was really not that close to getting the finish on the ground at all in that entire fight. And if Jimmy Crute's able to nullify the strikes of Alonzo, land those takedowns, plus 550, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Again, I won't be surprised if Crute finds that submission, if he finds that TKO, or if Alonzo starches him like Jamal Hill did. But these decision odds on all these guys are racking up the numbers, and they are very, very high value. So that'd be it. It'd just be Jimmy Crute by a decision. Because if you look at his last few fights, a lot of round one finishes. Jamal Hill lost, the injury loss in round one, getting a few solid knockout wins and submission wins early on right there. 2 decision wins, 3 decision wins, and then a 4th fight that went to a decision. That is 4 fights out of 16 fights, meaning 25% chance that Jimmy Crute is going to be going to a decision. And out of his wins, if he's going to win the fight, that is 9, 10, 11, 12. That is 3 out of 12, which again is 25% of his wins that are going to a decision. That's plus 400. You're getting plus 550 on Jimmy Crute decision. I think that's what we're going to see. Yet again, a very, very hard-fought decision. Yasmin Jauregui and Denise Gomez at strawweight. I'm going to say it right now. Underdog or pass. Don't be the guy that parlays Yasmin Jauregui, that puts Jack Della Maddalena in that same parlay. Bo Nickel at minus 50,000. Tatsuro Taira adding Vitor Petrino and Cameron Sama. Don't be that guy. It's not really that worth it for Yasmin Jauregui at this point. The only thing would be if you're getting that. I mean, if you're on Betway and you're getting plus 130, that's value. Plus 110, plus 105, not as good. That's like a flip heads or tails. If it's heads, maybe I'll sprinkle on that one. But plus 130 is really, really solid, and about all I do for the fight. Fight goes to a decisions at minus 125. I'd like to see some plus money. So plus 130 on Yasmin by decision, half unit bet. Could be worth a very, very small sprinkle. Scorecards, no action, still are not that good. Denise Gomez is a finisher. So, yeah, don't money line, don't parlay Yasmin, decision prop, or pass. Nico Price and Robbie Lawler. I'm going to say right now, minus 250 on Nico, no. No, if it goes to a decision, there's a solid chance, in my opinion. The judges are like, oh, this is a veteran. It's his retirement fight. He may have got outstruck by like 4 or 5 strikes that round, but we're going to give him the win. It's his retirement fight. Come on. The least we can do. So no, we're not doing no minus 105 price inside the distance. We're not even doing a price by decision at plus 330 right there. But we might, sprinkle just a little bit on a Robbie Lawler decision. If you look at the guys that Nico Price is finishing inside of the UFC, it's James Vick with a crazy upkick. It's Tim Means in round 1 with a crazy KO. We got rear nakeds. We got hammer fist from bottom positions. He's got a lot of weird, wanky, crazy sort of finishes inside of the UFC. And yes, the dude does get finished in a lot of his fights. Vicente Luque, Abdulrazak Al Hassan, Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque again, and then Philip Rowe. sorry to say, Robbie Lawler's not really that tier of fighter at this point in his MMA career. If he loses, it's going to be probably a decision, in my opinion, because Nico only wins in those crazy scenarios. And he's only been finished by Brian Barberena and Ben Askren recently. And that Ben Askren one really wasn't that bad of a fight, because a lot of people think he wasn't actually asleep. Didn't get finished by RDA, Neil Magny, Colby Covington. I have a weird feeling Robbie's going to edge it out on the scorecards. My prediction is Nico Price by decision, but I might just sprinkle a little bit. Just a little bit. It'll help me if you try. I don't know. I'm trying to sing that song. Plus 550 on Robbie Lawler in his retirement to get that decision. It's worth like a tenth of a unit. Maybe a fifth of a unit. Something like that. Something small.